Sometimes porn just really gets me. Like, I just started dying laughing. I'm like, look at our show. Look at the start of our show. We've got a bugle that opens up the show for us. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
The minute I saw that when Mike Blair sent that to me, I said, "This has to be the opening." I mean, this is what you do early in the day, man. This is how you get it.
There's not enough people watching the show that I think are in my age demographic. But there was a show on Nickelodeon called Salute Your Shorts. And it was like, this sleepaway camp. And part of the show was they started with a bugle like that. And then they sang this whole camp song. It always makes me think of that. So it always makes me feel good.
And we can go way back. You don't remember Bugle Bailey,
No, I do not remember Bugle Bailey at all.
So we have a blast from the past. Good morning, Andrea. So nice to see you join us in the morning. Andrea comes to us from New York. She's an old friend, man. Good to see your name. Gary Rogelski's back. He's been.
Gary was here yesterday, blowing up the comments. And
was he? I missed that. I was kind of. I was so entrenched, I missed it. So lots of really, really good shit. What's going on in your life, Sonny boy?
Everything is great. I got the opportunity to watch the Master at work yesterday, and it's always great. But really, it was just nice to be in person with a bunch of people. Like that was a good group of people. People I hadn't seen in a long time. Like, shout out to Brian DePotter, him and I had connected way back. We ended up sitting at the table with Nick Ma, which was super cool that you got to meet him, because that's a guy, a Knoll, that I met early on when I moved back to Florida. So it was just good to see people and be out and talking. And then obviously you did a great job with the talk.
Thank you. For me, first of all, we'll get to it. One of the things we're going to talk about is LinkedIn content.
Yeah.
So what to do with it, how to do it. The audience was like, their mouths were like, wow, this is good shit. Really digging it up. But for me to do what I do and what I love to do in front of my boys, I'm just not sure it gets better. Like, I know it does.
Sure.
But we were talking this morning, you were sitting off to the side. And as I got up to do my deal, first of all, what a great introduction. She said I was one of the most.
She definitely put you on a pedestal before you got up there.
One of the most dynamic people I've ever met.
Right.
So that whole team, Trisha Schmidt is here. So it was great. It was warm. It was great. But you and I had a dialogue with no words.
Yeah.
In our eyes, and I knew it, and you knew it.
Yeah.
But we didn't actually acknowledge it until this morning, which is incredible. And I think people came up to you and sort of knew that there was something special going on.
Yeah, and I appreciate the opportunity to get up and share a little bit during the presentation. And I think, and Joni even said, like, that was the first time she's ever seen us do anything together in person. And she really got a lot out of it. But it's great to see Devin. But I relate it to like being on the basketball court, it's like the give and go, or like you knew somebody was supposed to cut and go to the lane and you don't say anything. You're not gesturing it. You just see and know. And when you guys are in tune in a game that way, I feel like that's kind of how we do it. So
yeah, I mean, the reality was not rehearsed, not
right.
Certainly not it wasn't, okay, go to Mark kind of thing. It was amazing.
And like everybody asked me prior, they were like, are you going to be a part of the presentation? And I'm like, oh, I'm sure I am, but I have no idea where or when it will happen. And they were like, really? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's just part of the gig. Like, if you're going to come watch my dad, like, I know I got to be prepared to just maybe step on stage in the middle of the presentation and do the whole thing with him. You never know how it's going to happen.
And one of the things I got good at is reading the audience, knowing what was right, what the right timing was, and God, it worked great. Larry LLJ, cool man, beat us to the punch. Congratulations to Joni Knight
on the promotion.
There's no better validation for me of the work that you put in to get where you are. Congratulations. They dropped the assistant. You are the lady. Great job. Great promotion. Shay, wake us up, and then let's get deeper into the content yesterday, into LinkedIn. Let's show some pictures of some folks that were there.
Help, yeah. Wake up, everybody! Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up! Wake up! Come on! Come on! Wake up, everybody! Teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody! No more sleeping in bed. No more back to thinking, time for thinking ahead. Come on now.
Oh man, I may do that as walk-up music.
I don't know why you wouldn't. I mean, it is the Huddle opening music, so like that's
Good. This is the just such a great compliment because there's so much content that you and I talk about, produce, share with people that when you got to stuff it into 45 minutes, it's really hard. You want to give as much value as you can. And so I did not have to rewrite the presentation yesterday, but I wrote it fresh. I pulled stuff from all of the things we're doing, which to me is the fun part. It keeps me, it's like working out in the gym, but working your brain out, to just
you switch up the routine.
That piece fits that video. We had a whole Top Gun piece in the presentation, which I will be doing from now on because there's so many lessons. So what struck you as the key nuggets? What struck you as maybe something new that I did?
Just the Simon Sinek video, which I had. I know you had that, but I hadn't seen it in a long time. And just driving home the point of consistency and of doing the reps day in and day out, like that to me, I think is the thing that is the hardest part for people to get. And I think it was the hardest for me to get in the beginning, was to just show up daily and, put the content out there daily and engage and like and comment and add connections and do the work of LinkedIn daily, because I think people associate it with not work. They associate it with like play and food.
That is a very interesting point that we have never talked about, but that's a very interesting point. They think it's like messing around. It's
right.
Like,
social media,
Facebook, and I can't really make build.
Right.
What are you missing, man?
Right. And I think that, driving that home for people and, the way that Simon puts it in the video is, you go to the gym one day, you come home, you look in the mirror and you see nothing. You go the next day, you come home and you see nothing. It must not be working then. So you quit, It's kind of that way with LinkedIn, except it really rewards you kind of quickly. Like when you jump in and you start creating content, even if you meet one new person, that's a reward. It's not like you go to the gym one day and you lose a pound and you're like, all right, I can already see the results happening. It takes far longer for you to do that. So, reminding myself and hearing the way it was positioned to everybody else about it's daily work, and it is work, because what it creates for you is opportunity, and the opportunity for you to capture that opportunity. So that to me was the biggest takeaway.
I appreciate that. And, it's so funny because in the beginning, when I first started coaching, I would say people write down your daily habits and then let's commit to some new behavior and see where it goes over the next 30 days. But you got to do it every day. And I would say, okay, what's the one thing you're going to do for the next, what's your thing? Right. And someone would say, I'm going to walk Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I go, what did you not understand about it? Like every day, Hey, Rudy's here. Rudy.
And Jesse Rogers is here. I want to give Jesse a shout out. Jesse comes to us by way of Gus Mistaken.
Jump on Rudy.
We're going down the shout outs. Rudy's the huddler. We know Rudy.
Great. Rudy's great, man.
Jesse is new to the crew. I mean, Jesse comes by way of Gus Mustakis, who Gus is a good friend of mine from being a young kid. So Jesse, glad to have you here and looking forward to virtual coffee at some point here in the near future.
So let's show some pictures. Shay, show me Sherry Cedar.
Yeah, it was great. We got to sit with Sherry and have lunch with Sherry, which was super awesome.
So she's great. She picks it up. She gets it. Consistency. So it was great to be out and social with her. We talked about Devin. We talked about Joni. We talked about
Devin used the face to flesh term yesterday. It was the first time that Devin and I had ever met in person. And she's like, what's the word for this? And I was like, well, my dad kind of coined face to flesh. And she's like, I don't know. Sounds kind of creepy. And I was like, yeah, it's the best we got right now. So
yeah, you know what? We got to work on that. But it does, face to face works virtually.
Sure, exactly.
And people don't trust that, but it really does work. You know, I'm much more social with people because I have more time and it's more efficient, than driving around trying to get on people's calendar. Hey, could you grab 15 minutes tomorrow? Yeah, that's good. So the benefit is like today where I'm having lunch with Michael Rosenberg from Rogue Lawyers. We did a presentation for them, 75 plus attorneys, and they went on fire. He goes, I can't wait to see you again. So it is the reward to do that afterwards. But, for me, delivering this kind of content, a couple of things happen. Number one is I'm around it all day long.
Right.
So it's hard to pull off. You know what I mean? It's like you look yourself in the mirror and you go, I just told 5 people today, 5 coaching clients, this is what you got to do. I can't go sit on the balcony, smoke a cigarette, eat a pack of donuts.
Right. Correct.
So I literally last night, and I was exhausted last night because we had some running around to do. I got back, and before I let the night go away, 5 videos. Bang, 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 introduction videos. Lainey, who's here, I'm taking Lainey everywhere I go, introducing her to further the cause of the American Cancer Society. But I could have stopped. I could have said I'm exhausted and pushed it to tomorrow. But this is the stuff you get from other people. This is the stuff I get from Jocko. Jocko says it matters. Just get it out of your head. It matters. And the minute you decide that I'm not doing that, I'm going to do this, it's over. You do it. It's like it's that one little.
And then it's done. And then it's done. And then the guilt of not having done it, or the weight of like, oh, then I got to get to it. And as soon as you push it to the next day, forget it. It's getting pushed 7 days. Right. Then you're just going to lose track of it, as opposed to disciplining yourself to, I'm going to do it right now. It's going to take me 5 minutes. I'm going to do it.
So Joni talked about it, but for you and I, and you got, your post this morning. So let's do this.
Let's do morning motivational music, because it'll segue us to, we got kind of like a new segment that we're going to introduce, which is LinkedIn spotlight content, something along those lines. So let's do morning motivational music, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about what content is on LinkedIn right now.
Because now and then she'll get to worrying, just because you have been spoken for so long. And though you may not have done anything, will that be a consolation when she's gone? Listen, boy, it's good information from a man who's made mistakes. Just a word or two that she gets from you could be the difference that it makes. She's a trusting soul, she's put her trust in you. You know she put her trust in you. But a girl like that won't tell you what you should do. Tell her about it, tell her everything you feel. Give her every reason to accept that you're for real. Tell her about it, tell her all your crazy dreams. Let her know you need her, let her know how much you mean. Tell her about it, tell her how you feel right now. Just tell her about it. The girl don't want to wait too long. You got to tell her about it. Tell her now.
That is some fun music, man.
Tell her about it, right? And that's the whole point. So where do you
in that to someone else? The words make the difference.
Right.
And that is the key. That may be the music for this segment because it's so on point. There's so many other people putting gems out there that if you just take the time to read the feed,
So I want to start with the post that I pulled from Stephanie Stuckey because it's more of a validation of why she does it and what happens. So Stephanie puts out there, storytelling sells. I've gotten pushback over the years from well-meaning folks advising me to quit posting so many stories on social media and instead focus on sales, sales, sales. While I agree that paid ads can help generate short-term boosts in sales, my goal is to create long-term brand loyalty. You don't snap your finger and get results. Building community around your brand takes time and patience. Case in point, she shows this graph of her rise of sales because she had an article in the New York Times. She was telling the story on social media about the New York Times. She married all of this storytelling together. And if you follow her, she stays consistent in putting her brand out there day after day after day. And she's not seeing this happen. She's seeing the steady climb of people paying attention to her brand and her business because of the story she's telling.
So I saw Stephanie Stuckey about a year ago start out of nowhere. And if you're paying attention, you see new people. You see that new blood.
Right.
You know it's coming. She came inbound, and I was like, Stuckey. I remember Stuckey's. Boom, boom,
right.
boom.
Her
whole story was about her grandfather and her dad who had built the business, sold it, and it was a shamble, a shadow of what it was. She decided to rebuild it, and the way she was rebuilding it was by honoring them, telling their story. I just reached out to her and I said, the absolute coolest thing I've ever seen. I would love to have you on my podcast. Tell me something good. I did. I said, any way I can help you. I introduced her to 3 people. I introduced her to the people I did sugar, so I mean, why? Because I could. I wasn't looking to sell her anything.
Right.
She's not looking to sell me anything. She sent me a gigantic box of it just said sugar on the outside. You know what? She has stayed consistent. And that exact story happened to me when I started to pump social media stuff. People walked up to me, dude, you post all the time. Every time I open up LinkedIn, I see you. That's the point.
I just listened to Gary Vee on the Pivot podcast, which he was really great on. And listening to him talk now retrospectively about how he built his brand and what he continues to do. And he referenced back to that. I didn't really get it until I figured out that it was about documenting and not creating. And once I started documenting everything, people think that I'm on all the time, but they don't realize that I've just documented an entire day and took an entire day and broke it into 35 pieces of content. So people are seeing me over and over and over and over, and they think I'm everywhere, but I'm at home. I'm working. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm taking 6 weeks vacation, but people get the assumption that I'm always all the time because of the way.
What was
6 weeks vacation, he said. Get 7 hours of sleep a night, 6 weeks vacation. He goes, I don't want to, make people think that it's the hustle brand. He goes, but I win because I get excess share of voice. I win because people see me all the time.
This is crazy shit. The reality is that we were trained differently getting into the business world.
Right.
Like it's some badge of honor to overwork.
Right.
Well, what's going on? I'm exhausted, man.
Right. Grinding. I'm grinding.
I'm beat. I can't even think straight.
Why?
You're not useful to anybody doing that,
Right.
So, the people who peeled off, and listen, I'm not too old to learn. When you took off 3 weeks,
Yeah.
When else could you do that 3 weeks?
Right.
It was like so for me, and the fact that I took 2-week vacation, unheard of. I'm going on vacation tomorrow, Friday and Monday off because I get to grab that 6-year-old beauty, so I get more done in the time frame.
Right.
That's the difference.
That was his
I
point.
don't overwork it. I'm getting better at putting my phone down and not, but when I dig in, I'm in, man. It's a sushi knife.
And that's really the difference, is being extremely disciplined and focused and efficient with the time that you have to do the work, so that you can put it down and walk away and go do the things you need to do. So coming from Gary, who I was, obviously appears to be everywhere all the time, coming from him, it should give everybody a great understanding of content. Number one, should not be pushed aside and say, I don't really have time to do that. Because if you don't have time to do that, you're telling me that you don't have time to create opportunity for yourself to meet more people. And if you're not creating opportunity for yourself to meet more people, you may as well be dead. Like,
what's the point?
What's the point?
It's so much fun what we've created, what's at our fingertips.
Right.
If you understand the tools, just like in Top Gun, they talk about, understand the technology, but it's the pilot.
You still got to know how to drive it.
You got to know what to do, And so there was a room full of people yesterday who, like, I don't really do anything on LinkedIn. It's the #1 marketplace for new activity, and nobody's there, So, or not there relevantly, or they're there to send all of the wall and haul shit.
Right.
So.
Right.
So it's crazy because we took the whole time talking about this. There's always one piece of content that lands.
We're never going to get to.
That we never get to. It gets kicked and it gets kicked. The intelligent stuff, the 12 signs of being intelligent got kicked. But I want to go overtime for 1 minute because I'm going to talk about your post.
Okay.
And we'll go to overtime.
So when people say, well, I'm going to strictly talk about it being in business, this is the gem that Mark put out there. So I woke up crying. Probably cry again. But for as far, I can't even do it.
So I put this post out because this is what was happening. I got the opportunity to sit and watch my dad again, but it triggered something in my brain that said, I've been doing this my whole life. And I've watched him do it in a lot of different arenas in a lot of different ways. And taking me to work wasn't about him teaching me about the cell phone business or about marketing and branding or about being a speaker. It was what were the fundamentals that made him successful at those things that I got to see, that then I got to take and put at the foundation of my thing. And so that to me is share what's happening. I took a picture of myself so that I could then document my thoughts and my feelings about what was happening and put it out there. That's what LinkedIn content should be. It's your life, it's your story, it's your brand and what's happening to you and your thoughts and feelings about it.
So the real takeaway is post something that makes somebody cry.
Yeah. Have a fantastic Thursday. Let's get after it today. We'll see you guys tomorrow for a Finish Friday.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get this.